Good evening, Virgo. Uh, Stop. Whatever you are about to do, whatever response you have been forming, whatever move you have been considering making in this situation that has been sitting with you, I need you to pause for a moment before anything else happens because something is going on around you right now that is not entirely what it appears to be. And the decision you make in the next period of time, based on what you currently understand about this situation, is going to matter significantly. Not because there is only one right answer, but because the answer you arrive at when you have the full picture is going to be so much more powerful, so much more aligned with your actual interests than any answer you could arrive at right now without it. You are being tested, and the most important thing I can tell you about that test is this: the person who designed it did not expect you to see it coming. Let me set the scene because context is everything here, and I want to make sure you understand the full landscape before we go any deeper into this reading. There is a situation in your life right now, and you probably know exactly which one I am referring to the moment I say that, that has been presenting itself as something relatively straightforward, something that on the surface has a clear shape, clear enough that the appropriate response seems fairly obvious, clear enough that most people in your position would have already moved, already acted, already made the decision that the surface of the situation appears to be calling for. But something in you has been hesitating, and I want to address that hesitation directly because it is not weakness. It is not indecisiveness. It is not you failing to trust yourself or taking too long to process something that should be simple. It is your extraordinary Virgo intuition doing exactly what it was built to do, registering something beneath the surface that the surface alone does not reveal, sensing that there is more to this situation than what has been presented, knowing in that quiet cellular way that you know things before you can prove them, that moving right now based on what you can see right now would be premature. Your intuition is right. There is more to this than what has been presented. I want to speak to who is behind this test because understanding the architect of it is essential to understanding how to navigate it. This is not a random situation that happens to be ambiguous. The ambiguity is deliberate. There is a person, or in some cases more than one person, who has constructed the current circumstances in a specific way, not chaotically, not carelessly, but with intention, with the specific intention of creating a situation that produces a particular response from you, a response that benefits them, that serves their purposes, that gives them something they want: information, leverage, confirmation of something they have been wondering about, or simply the satisfaction of seeing you react in a predictable way. The test has been designed with knowledge of you. Whoever put this together understands certain things about how you operate. They know your strengths, perhaps. They know your values. They know the things that matter to you enough to provoke a response. And they have used that knowledge to construct a situation that is specifically calibrated to push certain buttons. The irony of this, the almost poetic irony, is that their knowledge of you, while sufficient to design the test, is not sufficient to account for this, for the specific layered depth-seeing quality of Virgo awareness that notices the test itself, not just the surface of what the test is presenting. They built a trap for the version of you they think they know, and the version of you they think they know is a slightly simpler version than you actually are. Let me speak to the specific nature of what this test is asking of you, because it comes in different forms for different people, and I want to make sure you can locate yourself in this reading. For some of you, this is a test of reaction. Someone has done something, or said something, or created a situation that is designed to provoke an emotional response from you. They want to see how you handle being provoked. They want to see whether your composure holds, or whether the right kind of pressure in the right place can break through it and produce the reactive, unguarded version of you that they are hoping to access. For others, this is a test of loyalty. A situation has been constructed that presents itself as requiring you to choose sides, to declare where you stand, to make your allegiances visible in a way that they have not been visible before. The question is not actually about loyalty, it is about information, about what your choice reveals about your relationships, your priorities, your understanding of a situation that they want to understand better from the outside. For still others, this is a test of patience. Something has been withheld or delayed or made artificially scarce in a way that is designed to see whether you will wait, or whether the frustration of waiting will push you into moving before the timing is right. The test here is whether your desire for resolution is stronger than your discernment about when the right moment to move actually is. And for some of you, this is a test of what you know, of how much information you have been able to gather independently about a situation that someone has been trying to keep you in the dark about. The test is constructed to see how you respond to what they believe, which may be less than what you actually know, or more than they realize. Does this feel like it is connecting to something specific in your life right now, Virgo? Has a situation come to mind, one that has been nagging at you, one that has presented you with what seems like an obvious path forward, but that something inside you has been reluctant to simply follow? Let me know in the comments. I want to know what this is bringing up for you. I want to speak now to what the title of this reading promises, which is specific guidance about what to do before you make any move, because I take that promise seriously and I want to deliver on it with real substance. The first thing you need to do before you move is get quiet. Not quiet in the sense of withdrawing or becoming passive. Quiet in the sense of creating enough internal stillness to hear what your own intuition is actually telling you about this situation, separate from the noise of what you are feeling emotionally, separate from the pressure of what others might be expecting of you, separate from the logical analysis of what the surface of the situation appears to be calling for. Your intuition has been trying to tell you something. And the reason you have been hesitating, even when the path forward seemed obvious, is because that intuition has been registering something that your conscious mind has not yet fully articulated. Get quiet enough to hear it, to let it speak in its own language, which is not always words, which is sometimes a feeling, a sense, a quality of knowing that exists below the level of verbal reasoning. What does your gut say about this situation? Not your mind, not your emotions, your gut. That deep, unperformable, impossible to fake inner knowing that has never actually steered you wrong when you gave it enough space to speak. The second thing you need to do before you move is gather information that you do not currently have. This sounds simple, but I want to be specific about what I mean. I am not talking about asking the people involved directly for the information you are missing, because in a situation where a test has been constructed, the people involved are unlikely to give you accurate information through direct inquiry. They have a stake in what you know and what you do not know, and their answers to your direct questions will reflect that stake. What I am talking about is the information that exists at the edges in the behavior of people who are adjacent to this situation rather than central to it. In the small inconsistencies that you have probably already noticed, but perhaps not given full weight to, in the patterns, because people who design tests tend to have patterns, and those patterns leave traces if you know what to look for. You have the observational capacity to find this information. It is one of your defining gifts. The question is whether you have been fully deploying that capacity on this situation, or whether the pressure of the situation has been narrowing your focus in a way that keeps you from using your full range of perception. Widen your focus. Look at the edges. The information you need is there. The third thing you need to do before you move is decide what outcome you are actually optimizing for. This sounds obvious, but it is surprisingly easy to lose sight of in the middle of a complex situation. When you are being tested, when pressure is being applied and expectations are being created and a particular response is being elicited, it is easy to start optimizing for the wrong thing, for winning the immediate exchange rather than achieving your actual long-term goal, for proving something in this moment rather than protecting something that matters more than any single moment. Get clear on what you actually want from this situation. Not what the situation seems to be asking of you, not what the person who designed the test wants you to be focused on. What you actually want. What outcome, if you were looking at this from 6 months in the future, would feel like the right result? What decision made now would you look back on with the sense that you handled it with the full depth of your actual intelligence rather than the surface of your immediate reaction? Once you are clear on that outcome, the path forward tends to become clearer, because your intelligence, when it has a real objective to orient toward, is extraordinary. It is when you are reacting without a clear objective that it can be pulled in directions that do not serve you. Inhale. I want to speak to something about timing, because the test you are being subjected to has a time component, and I think it is important to address it directly. The person who designed this test is working with a particular timeline in their mind. They have a sense of how long they expect it to take for you to make whatever move they are hoping to produce. And they're watching, monitoring, waiting for the response that they have set up the situation to generate. Your most powerful move right now is to operate on a different timeline than the one they are expecting. Not indefinitely, because some situations genuinely do require timely responses, and dragging things out has its own costs. But long enough to disrupt their timeline, long enough to give your own gathering of information, your own internal clarity, your own discernment, the space to do its full work before you commit to anything. The discomfort of not knowing how you are going to respond, experienced from their side, is not trivial. People who set tests do not like to wait. They like the thing they have set in motion to produce its intended result in a recognizable time frame. Your refusal to perform on their schedule is itself a form of power. Use it. I want to speak now to what happens after you have done these 3 things. After you have gotten quiet, gathered the information at the edges, and gotten clear on your actual objective. What happens next is that you move deliberately, clearly, from a place of having considered the full picture rather than the presented surface. And the move you make from that place is going to be so different from the move that was expected of you, so much more accurate to your actual interests, and so much less accommodating of whoever constructed this test, that the effect of it is going to be genuinely surprising to the people who thought they had this situation mapped out. You are not going to react in the way you are supposed to react. You are going to respond in the way that serves you. And there is an enormous difference between those two things. Reaction is what happens when you are operating on someone else's terms. Response is what happens when you are operating on your own. You are going to respond. I also want to speak to the people who might be around this situation, but who are not the architect of it. Because sometimes tests come with witnesses, people who are watching to see how you handle this, whose own perception of you is going to be shaped by what they observe. These people, whoever they are going to witness something they were not necessarily expecting. Because the version of you that navigates a test with this level of awareness, that does not simply react to the surface, but that takes the time to read the full situation before moving, is a version of them that demonstrates something significant about your character. Your composure in the face of pressure, your refusal to be rushed into a decision that you have not fully examined, your ability to hold your own counsel in a situation where other people might fold or react impulsively. All of this is visible to the witnesses. And what they see is going to produce in them a respect for you that might not have been as clearly articulated before this moment. Tests, when navigated well, do not just protect you from their intended effect. They also reveal something about you that speaks for itself. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the thing that I feel is most essential to carry forward from everything that has come through today. You are more than the test expects you to be. The version of you that whoever designed this has been calculating around is a partial version, a version based on observation of your patterns without the full understanding of the depth from which those patterns operate. They know some of your moves, but they do not know your mind. They know some of your values, but they do not know the full sophistication with which you are capable of applying those values in complex situations. The test was designed for a Virgo, but the specific, particular, extraordinary Virgo that you actually are is more than the test can contain. Trust that. Move from that. And when the moment comes to make your move, make it from the full depth of who you actually are, not the surface version that anyone who has not been paying close enough attention might mistake for the complete picture. Because you are the complete picture, and the complete picture is more powerful than anything that has been set up to test it. If this reading resonated with you today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to hear this, and leave me a comment below. Tell me what situation came to mind as you were listening. Tell me what the test feels like in your life right now, and what you are feeling as you sit with the guidance in this reading. I read every single word you share. Every story matters to me, and I carry your energy with care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, do not move until you are ready. And when you are ready, move with everything you have. That is when the test stops being a test and becomes a demonstration of exactly who you are.